What's up, strongest men, women, and children from blocks all around the world? I am my block's strongest man, and tonight I have a 2-for-1, two great guests for you, Hailee Manipole and Matt McDougal.
Ciao, homie.
Welcome back to My Block's Strongest Man, where we bring strongman into the mainstream by discussing all of the latest strongman events in the greatest analytic detail that you'll find anywhere on YouTube. If you haven't done so yet, subscribe to this channel. Make sure to comment below whether you agree or disagree with my videos. I love the engagement, and I respond to every single comment. Now on to today's topic. Hey guys, thanks for joining me on the channel this evening. How you both doing?
Good. Yeah, good.
Awesome. So, I'll kind of have a few questions where either of you can answer, and then a few that are more targeted, if that's all right. So, first off, Hailee, let's start with you. For people who don't know you, you won your division at Mammoth recently. You qualified for Strongman Corp Nationals, and I think you got an Arnold spot, if I'm quoting your IG post correctly. Is all that right? And if so, take a second to brag about yourself a little bit.
Well, that's what I was told on the podium. I still haven't gotten an email to confirm that I got those invites, but that's what I was told when I got my trophies. So hopefully, but
cool. You want to talk a little bit about kind of how you came into strongman and your journey, and that was your second win in a row, right? And you're very soon going for your third.
Hopefully that was only my second open show, actually. So I did one in October in Memphis and then one Mammoth. I got into strongman. It's only been about a year. So before that I was actually spent most of 2019 competitive Spartan racing. So I come from obstacle horse racing and powerlifting, so just kind of been into a bunch of stuff. But yeah, I always liked the brute strength aspect of any sport I've done, so it kind of led me into strongman.
Nice, cool. And then Matt, for you, same question, kind of like for people who don't know you, you also won your division at Mammoth. There was a tiebreaker at the end, which we'll talk about in a second. I want to learn a little bit more about, but again, take a moment to brag about your accomplishments up until this point.
Yeah, so I did win Mammoth, and I got my email for nationals in the Arnolds. I've been doing strongman since it was either end of 2016 or beginning of 2017. I started when I was 19. I'm 23 now, so I've been at this for 4 years. I've been close to winning a lot of shows. I've actually tied for first. This is my fourth time tying for first.
Wow.
It finally came out in my favor. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
How many opens have you done so far?
10 or 11.
Oh, quite a few. All right.
I never did a novice show. When I got started, we decided to go straight into it, and I took dead last in my first show. So, but I came from track and field background, and I was never I was always high on the totem pole, and I wanted to get right in there and see where I was. So
that's interesting. What events did you compete track and field?
Shot put and disc, the field events, the throwing.
Okay. Yeah, I did shot put and javelin in high school, but I was terrible. Javelin takes a lot more technique than people give it credit for.
It's more akin to baseball pitching than anything else.
Absolutely. Yeah, so you bring up shot put. You ever watch Strongest Man in History?
Yep.
How do you think you would have done against Oberst in that it was larger than a normal shot, but how do you think you would have done against him?
So for the open stone throw, he threw it was either a 22 or 24 pound stone, I don't remember, but he threw like 45, 46 feet, something like that. Mm-hmm. I've thrown a 22 pound stone 43 feet.
Oh, so,
wow. I probably wouldn't have beat Oberst, but I probably would have beaten Brian.
Yeah, and that's saying something.
Right.
Yeah, That's cool. What's the standard shot put? Is it 16? I forget.
20 pounds. Yep, 7.26 kilo.
Okay, cool. So this one's for either one of you. Did you kind of have a favorite strength athlete growing up that you watched a lot?
That's more you.
That's me. Okay. So I came from a family of Olympians and NFL players.
Oh, wow.
And so for me, it was mostly my dad. He made it to the trials for discus, and so he was probably the biggest one for me. My uncle Ned Topanovic, he played for the Browns. So it's outside of my family, it would have to be Adam Nelson. He was a shot putter as well. He just had such high energy when he threw, and he honestly he wasn't a very good. He won the Olympics. He wasn't a very good thrower, technically speaking, but he would get in such a headspace that when it came time to throw, he would deliver and he would make it work. So I looked up to that a lot because he wasn't the tallest, he wasn't the most athletic, but he won.
Yep. And maybe like a Kazmaier type, kind of crazy when it counts.
Exactly.
Yep.
I would say I didn't really have one, and I didn't really get. I wasn't the first athlete in my family, but probably the first serious one in a while. Like neither of my parents are really. My dad's a runner, but I'm the first one to hit the weight room. So, and I didn't really get into lifting until I was an adult. So, I just kind of. I guess it's really just been the last few years that I've even started following professional athletes on social media and stuff. So I'm still kind of new to it. But
do you have siblings? Is it because when I spoke to Jules Mansfield, her kind of goal to achieve was to be stronger than her brothers, and she's like, now I am. Do you have a situation like that?
I have an older sister. My sister's an equestrian, so we both grew up riding horses. She still does that competitively. But I'm probably stronger than her in the weight room, but I still wouldn't want to piss her off. So we're both pretty strong.
Yeah, I see a lot of I see a lot of horse posts on your IG, so I was going to ask you about that. So is that something like you grew up around horses all your life, or?
We've had horses for 24, 25 years. So my sister started riding when she was 5, and she's 3 years older than I am. So horses have been around, and it's always been more of a hobby and a fun thing for me, and it's more of a competitive thing for her. So
okay.
Once I hit high school and started getting into other sports, we kind of went our separate ways there. So I still ride for fun, and I have a horse at home, but I don't travel to shows and stuff like she does unless I'm working. But.
Right. Interesting. So we kind of touched on this a little bit before, but for both of you, what brought you into strongman? Like, how'd you first get interested?
As a powerlifter, I always was interested in strongman. So I did my first powerlifting meet in 2014, I think. And it was super casual, but I got a coach and was lifting through college and did another meet in 2016. And just, I wasn't super competitive as a power lifter, and like my deadlift is my weak point in strongman. So I'm definitely more of a moving athlete. And so strongman's always interested me. And then I guess it was December 2019, a little non-sanctioned strongman comp at the gym we lift at now was advertised, and I signed up and went for it. So that was the first time I ever touched touched a log or a keg or sandbags or anything. And then the following spring, 2020, I did my first novice show. So it's kind of how I got into it.
Yeah. For me, I was after high school, so 2016, I was going to school for track. I had a scholarship for track and field. And so I was pursuing track and field and Olympic lifting at a fairly high level at a D1 school. The school cut their athletic funding until I had to either pay $42,000 a semester or drop out. And so I ended up dropping out. At that point, I was pursuing Olympic lifting now, since I didn't have a means to do track and field. I was actually at a training facility, and I was bouncing at the same time to support myself, and someone stabbed me in the leg. And so,
Whoa.
Yeah. So I was unable to continue Olympic lifting even after having stitches and going through the healing process for that, because I didn't feel that I never regained the mental side of dropping under a snatch. It always scared me because my quad was bothering me. And so I moved on to powerlifting. I was like, well, I've gained weight and I'm slow, so I guess I should do powerlifting. Through that, I met a really good group of people at my gold gym, including Bobby Thompson, actually. And so we started powerlifting. One of the guys there said, hey, you want to do a strongman comp? And I was like, sure. So we went. I got my ass handed to me, but I loved it. So there was, right off the bat, there were things that I was bad at, and there were things that I was really good at, even having never touched on the implements. And it was like, well, I think I can do this. So ever since then, that's kind of been the focus.
Yeah, I mean, for the uninitiated among the audience, Olympic lifting is technically intense. Is that fair?
For sure. I'd argue that it's the most technically intense. At a beginning level, they're all pretty similar, but to be an advanced lifter, I would say that Olympic lifting is definitely the most, you have to be the most technically sound. You can't get away with just being strong.
Right. Interesting. So another thing I was wondering, just for both of you, do you train full time or do you have quote unquote day jobs?
Both. So I am in the gym. I'm usually lifting 4 days a week, and I still like to run and do cardio, and so I'm usually doing something active. If I take one full rest day a week, that's a good thing. But I'm an artist, a practicing studio artist, and I work on commission. So I do a lot of portraiture, and I work from home. And then I also am still in the horse industry doing braiding. So I travel to horses and do horse hair for supplemental income, which pays really well, actually. So it's definitely training full time, but not getting paid for it yet. So
You're busy. Wow. How about you, Matt?
Very busy.
I coach track and field at the University of Mary Washington. I'm a throws coach there.
Okay.
But that is that's not a huge time requirement. So I basically have time to train as much as I want to, or travel, as a matter of fact. So
right, and I make my own schedule, so I wouldn't. Neither of us really have a day job, right. So we are, sometimes the creativity hits at 2 a.m, and that's when I'm drawing, and other times it's usually it's not 9 to 5 though.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, for me either, with all the editing. I know how it is.
Yeah, I tried I have an art degree from Virginia Commonwealth University, and I think for about 6 months out of college, I did the 9 to 5 thing, and took about 2 weeks of that to realize it wasn't what I wanted to do. So kind of went out on my own shortly after that. So
yeah, got to do what you love.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Before we end today, shoot me if you have like a website or an IG for your art. I'd love to help you promote that as well.
Oh, for sure. I can message you that.
So did you two meet in Strongman?
Yeah, so we actually we met at her first show. That was an unaffiliated show. At the end of the show, they were having a Moz wrestling competition, and Chad Clark, who's the state chair for Virginia, had told me that I should go try Moz wrestling. So he let he let me know about the comp a week beforehand and was like, hey, you only live half an hour from where this is happening. You have no excuse. Go do this. And so I went mostly to try Moz Wrestling afterwards. And there. We didn't actually have pretty much any interaction at the time. But through that competition is how I made it into the Arnold's for Moz Wrestling. And we both ended up joining that gym. So,
okay. So I'm not familiar with Moz Wrestling. I mean, I wrestled in high school a bit, but Greco-Roman, so I'm not familiar.
So Moz Wrestling is a Yakutian sport. So it's from northern, colder part of Russia. The Yakutian people are kind of an ethnic minority there. And what Moz Wrestling is, it is sit-down stick wrestling. And so you have a board that runs between your feet. You're both sitting on the ground facing each other, and you're holding on to a Moz, which is the Yakutian word for stick. So you're both holding onto a stick, and you're trying to pry the guy over the board. And so you win by either pulling him onto your side or by pulling him around the board. So,
yeah. Okay, I've seen it. I didn't know what it was called.
Yeah,
that's interesting. How did you do?
The Arnold's I took fifth, so I did pretty well.
Good. That's awesome. It's like a full body version of a leg press, sort of.
Honestly, it's like a Roman deadlift, but you're twisting the whole time. So it feels like you're fighting. It feels like a fighting sport. You just don't get, your teeth knocked out. So
No, usually just pull out a lat or something.
True, yeah.
I can see that. Yep.
Pretty rough. He makes me. I can beat him if he has one hand.
Yeah, if I only have one hand on the stick. If he only has one hand, I have two. Sometimes I can beat him.
Got to take any advantage you can get.
Right.
So, and that actually leads right into my next question. Do you typically train together, or do you find like training separately works out better for you each?
We train at the same time, but separately. So I have a coach that does my programming, and he does his own programming, and we're rarely doing the same thing, but we're in the gym at the same time. So, and that works pretty well for us, I think.
Yeah.
I think we'd butt heads if we were doing the same thing.
For sure. The only time we normally train the same event together would be if we're doing conditioning or something at the end, then we'll circuit through the same thing at the same time. So,
okay, that makes sense. Cool. So just to kind of wrap it up, I really appreciate all the time that you've both spent with me. I've learned a ton and really had a great time. Take this moment now to kind of promote anything you'd like to, sponsorships, anything that you, how to follow you and so forth.
So I don't have any sponsorships.
Anyone's more than welcome to reach out.
Right. But you can follow me on Instagram. My handle is HailHail11.
Sounds right.
And then I also have my business page on Instagram is HM Portraits, which would be my artwork, or hmanipole.com. If anyone, I mostly draw. I draw a lot of dogs. So if you love your dog and want a portrait, then I am your woman. But I can draw anything provided a good reference photo. So I'm always happy to take more work in that area.
Yep.
Awesome.
For me, it's my Instagram is Big McDougal. It's probably easier to find me on Facebook. I'm in the Starting Strongman group page, and I comment a lot on people. So it's pretty easy to find me. I'm around. As far as sponsorship or any help there, I have nothing and I'm poor. So
you have me.
Yes, I don't have nothing. I have everything and I'm poor. So
let's find someone to help grow together. Go Hard Labs, you guys listening?
Right.
Sure.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, both of you, for a great evening, great chat. Like I said, I learned a bunch, had a great time, and maybe we connect again after your next competition.
Sure.
For sure.
We'll
awesome. All right, great. Have a nice evening.
Thank
You as
you.
well.
You too.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So if you like this video and haven't done so yet, please consider subscribing using that button right there. And also stay tuned for some other videos that you might love blooping up right there. This one is the one that YouTube thinks that you will like the best, and this one is the one that I think you will like the best. As always, share this with everyone, and until next time, ciao, homie.